Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip-Flop Chef, and today I want to show you how to make roasted salsa using Pampered Chef's Deluxe air fryer, and we're also going to make our own homemade potato chips using some tortillas, also in the air fryer. So if this is your first time watching, please hit the subscribe button while you're here, turn on the bell so that you're notified anytime I share new content, and also I would love to invite you to my recipe community. I have thousands of recipes and a weekly giveaway. You can find that by going to theflipflopchef.com. Just click the button at the top and you'll find the page. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be roasting our vegetables first in the air fryer. Then we're going to roast some, or air fry some tortilla chips. And we'll finish the salsa in the blender. So this will be a couple of part video here, but we'll come together pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got most of my ingredients are pretty much ready to go. I just need to make a couple of finishing touches here. So I'm going to use the small pan that comes with the modular sheet pan. You actually get 2 of these, and this is approved for our air fryer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an onion. I went ahead and peeled this ahead of time. I'm just going to cut this onion into quarters. And I'm going to cut the stems off my jalapeno, and I'm going to cut it in half. I am going to leave the seeds. I know not everybody is going to want to do that, but I feel like I like a little bit of heat, so we're going to we're going to keep those seeds. Just make sure you're careful not to touch inside of those peppers, because that's actually where the heat is in the seeds, and it would be terrible if you touched your eye or something after that. Now we're going to peel some garlic cloves, and then we're going to also add some corn before we put this in the air fryer. So we're going to add, you can do 4 to 6 cloves of garlic. Now I like to peel them before I roast them because I don't want to have to handle them when they're hot, and so it's just easier for me to just peel them. I can get these apart here. This is a struggle. There we go. I don't like to have to peel them while they're hot. So I'm going to peel these with Pampered Chef's garlic peeler. Slide this inside this little silicone tube. You're going to press down and just rub back and forth. And you see how it rubs that skin right off of the garlic. We're going to do this a few more times. See, just separates that nice and easily. We'll put these on the pan with those vegetables. And this garlic peeler is dishwasher safe, so it's real easy to clean too. And any little pieces of paper or skin that you may still have inside, just rinse them off. Doesn't take any effort at all. All right, so we're going to roast the onions, jalapenos, the garlic cloves, and some corn kernels. We'll do that in the air fryer, and then we'll finish this off in our cooking blender. So let's get our corn ready. I'm going to use our large silicone prep bowl. This is a 3-cup size, and our kernel cutter. I've got 2 corn cobs left in my reusable silicone bag. So I buy corn in bulk, either at Sam's, sometimes Aldi has the larger packages, and then I use what I need at the first time I use it, and they come in those little foam board packaging with cellophane on the top. Well, you can't ever get them stored well, again, if you're not cooking them all at one time. So I just transfer them to the large bag, put them in the refrigerator, and they're ready anytime that I need them. We're going to take our kernel cutter, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice down all sides of this corn, and I'll show you the finished product here in a second. But it's really cool, it's really easy, and I do this in the silicone bowl to keep from having to chase all those corn kernels all over the place. And if you are someone who grows corn, puts up corn, and need to cut all this off the cob, the really cool thing about our kernel cutter is it actually gets the milk out of the cob too. So there's the first one. Let me go ahead and add this on here. I don't want to smush this. And it really doesn't matter how you put this on here, just get it all in the pan. We're going to do another one, same as we did before. Just start at the top and scrape all the way down, turning the cob as you go. And then we'll put that in the pan. We're going to roast all of that. I'll show you how to make the tortilla chips, and then when both of those are done, I'll come back and we'll finish up the salsa in the blender. So I'll bring that around when I'm done with this. Okay, almost ready to put this in our air fryer. So the onions, jalapenos, garlic, and now corn. Roasting this is just gonna give the salsa a different flavor than if you were just using uncooked ingredients. I'm gonna drizzle this with a little bit of garlic oil. So this is from Pampered Chef. I have a very little bit left in here. Let's see if I have enough to sort of drizzle over the top. I think this will be good. I'll just go ahead and finish this bottle off and get another one out of the closet. Okay, so garlic infused oil. I'm gonna open up my air fryer, and I have my rack in the middle position here. And this is hot from another recipe that I just did, so I wanna be careful not to burn myself. Place this in here, and then I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna set it to air fry, which has a pre-programmed setting for 400 degrees for 25 minutes. But I don't wanna cook this, oops, I gotta select it first. I don't wanna cook it for that long. So I'm gonna do 8 minutes, and then I'm gonna check to see if I need to add any more time. So this is the first time I'm making this in the air fryer. I have done this in the oven, and in the oven, you're gonna put it at about 450 for about 10 minutes. So we're gonna go a little bit less. Now let's make our tortillas. We're gonna just take some of these small size. So these are not the teeny tiny size. This is the small fajita size tortilla. Get a handful of these. And I'm gonna take my pizza cutter, because that's the easiest way to cut these into triangles. I'm gonna split this into 2 piles. That's a little guy there. So this is 6 tortillas. We'll start with that. And I will probably do more than 1 batch of tortilla chips to make sure I have enough to go with the salsa. I'm gonna toss these in some olive or some oil. I think there's vegetable oil in my spritzer right now. And then we're gonna put some Chipotle seasoning on the top. Now, you could just do salt, or you could roast them plain. It's totally up to you. And I think I can fit more than 6 in my basket, so I'm gonna add a few more in here, and then if there's too many for the basket, I'll do 2 different batches. Let's do 3 more. You don't want it to be overfull so that they don't actually move around very much, so it's important to not overfill that basket. Okay. Now what we'll do is we're going to spritz this with a little bit of oil. I'm going to pump the oil in our kitchen spritzer. You want to pump till it's nice and tight, and then you know that it's pressurized. Now you're going to get your hands a little bit messy here, but you're going to just spray and toss at the same time. You want to make sure that you get enough oil on the chips so that they crisp up, but also so the seasoning or the salt, whatever you're using, is going to stick to it. It's way better than deep frying. All right, I think I'm running out. Let me pump this a little bit more, because I want to make sure I have enough oil for the seasoning to stick to it. Almost had enough. Okay. And then you're going to want to burp that bottle when you're done. I'm going to take our Chipotle rub. Oops, I meant to open this before we started here. Excuse me. All right. And all of our dry rubs and seasonings are gluten-free and kosher. Just sprinkle these on here. And you see I'm just tossing these around to make sure I don't miss any, because you want them to all look really good too. Now these are going to go in the air fryer in the rotating basket on the rotisserie setting for 10 minutes. And then you're going to lay them out to cool off, and then they'll be ready to go. All right, let me wash my hands up. I can already smell the vegetables in here roasting, so it's going to be delicious. I can't wait to eat this. So like I said, I've made this before in the oven, but this is the first time I'm making it in the air fryer. All right, so the chips I've done in the air fryer many times. We're just going to, let's spray the basket. I like to get in the habit of spraying the basket just because you don't want something to stick to the basket. So for some things you really need it to spray with, and others you don't have to spray. But if you just get in the habit of spraying the basket, it makes cleanup so much easier. Okay, we're gonna toss these in. So that was 9 of the small tortillas, and that was actually like perfect filled basket there. Okay, so if you heard the beep here, that's just telling me, hey, it's halfway through your 8 minutes. If you need to rotate the trays, this is the time that you're gonna do it. Since we're not rotating trays because we're only using one, I'm just gonna leave it alone. Not gonna do anything. If at any time, if you wanna check, you can just look in here and you can check on your vegetables. The air fryer does stop until you close the door, so just keep that in mind. But what we're gonna do, I'm gonna put these in my other air fryer, toast the chips, finish the sauce, finish the roasting vegetables, and then I'll come back and we'll have my blender and we'll be able to put everything in there to finish up our roasted salsa. So you guys hang tight just a little bit. Hey everyone, I'm back to show you how to finish up making your roasted salsa. So you can see here our vegetables are nice and roasted, and 8 minutes was perfect for what I was looking for. If you want them a little bit more charred, then maybe add 2 or 3 more minutes, but you probably don't want them to be burned. I know some people like things really, really done, but make these to your liking before you finish off your salsa. So what I'm gonna do, I might be able to handle that pan, but just in case, I don't want to burn myself. It's been sitting out a few minutes. I'm going to transfer the corn, the jalapeno peppers, the onions, everything here into the Deluxe cooking blender. Whoops, and some on the counter. You guys are messy like me too, right? All right, so, and get all those juices. That's why I wanted to use this metal pan instead of the roasting or the baking trays that come with the air fryer. Okay, now we're gonna just get the rest of our ingredients together. See if I can salvage a little bit of that. And I did make a mess, I have corn everywhere. Okay, so we're gonna add some tomatoes. We are gonna drain these tomatoes so that it's not too watered down. So we're gonna take 1 can of regular diced tomatoes, 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. This is kind of like using Rotel. We're gonna add some Chipotle seasoning, lime juice, and some cilantro. So let's start with our tomatoes. I'm gonna drain them using the small colander into our small glass bowl. So you'll get to see me use the can opener twice, but what I like to show you is you attach the can on the front of the can opener on the front of your can, and that way you know when you've gone all the way around. After you use this a few times, you're gonna get used to the way that it feels. You'll hear that tension kind of release and your can opener will jump just slightly. Once you bypass your starting point, turn counterclockwise, and it releases the can from the can opener. So we're gonna drain this from the colander into the bowl, and then we're gonna do the same thing with our diced tomatoes. You could use fire roasted tomatoes too if you like. I didn't have any of those on hand, but if you use fire roasted, you may not wanna add the Chipotle seasoning in there. So you're gonna have to just decide how hot and spicy you want this to be. All right, I'm just gonna shake that just a little bit and transfer this over into the blender. If you want this to be a more chunky salsa, you could keep the tomatoes out of the blender and stir in the vegetables after you blend them up. My words are not coming to me, you guys. Okay. Next, I want to add about 2 teaspoons of our Chipotle rub. So the Chipotle rub does have a little heat to it, so you can use more or less depending on what you like. And then I'm going to take, I might get a knife out, let me grab one, hang on. I just washed it and put it away instead of putting it back over here. We're going to add some lime juice, put this right in the citrus press, and then you're going to just squeeze to press this through, and look at this. You're going to get every little drop of juice. Perfect. And this is a dishwasher safe product as well. And next up, I'm going to add some cilantro. Now, this cilantro has been in my fridge for probably a week and a half, so there's a couple pieces that I'm not going to use. I'll just pull off anything that isn't so fresh anymore. I do like to use the stems, but let me show you something here. Oops. I love this herb keeper because you can change out the water. So I don't know if you guys can see in there, but it's kind of gross now. I changed the water, I don't know, 5 or 6 days ago. But if I still had more cilantro, change the water, make it fresh. There's a little window here you can see if the water is dirty and needs to be changed. And your fresh herbs are gonna last so much longer when you store them that way. All right, now let's put this on the top. I don't know if I'm gonna need my tamper, but we're gonna try it without it. If I do, I'll just grab it. And what we're gonna do, so I'm gonna start on the custom blend, setting 1. You always wanna kind of start low. You don't wanna just like go crazy right out of the gate because you don't want that motor going from, you know, 0 to 90, right? So we're gonna press 1 and then let it start and then just gradually increase. There we go. All right, and I don't want it to be like super, super watery and super runny. So that's nice and thick. Let's see if I want to blend it anymore. I'm gonna give it just a little bit more. Okay, now and the roasting is going to help give you that darker color too, and so it's not so red as a salsa that it wouldn't have the corn and it wouldn't have some of that char in there. I'm going to store this in our make and take mason jar, and so let me transfer this over. And see, it's nice and thick. If we had left all the juice from the tomatoes, it would be way too watery. Now, I could have just set that juice aside. It's sitting in my sink. I could use it if I needed to. But if you find that it's too thick, then you can just add some of that juice from the canned tomatoes back in if you didn't drain them directly into the sink. All right. And this is a great way to store your salsa in the refrigerator. Now, this make and take mason jar is BPA-free plastic and it's shatterproof. So if you were to drop it, it shouldn't break. I've not tested that, but. And the cool thing about this lid is if you wanted to make salad in a jars using these make and take mason jars, the lids are 2 parts. So you could put a salad dressing or topping for your salad in the very top compartment and then put the lid right on there. This is still a little bit warm, so I'm gonna take the lid off just so that the salsa can cool down, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator until I'm ready to serve it. Now let's talk about the tortilla chips because we did cook those in the air fryer as well. So I have these over here, and this is not too hot for me to handle now. Now, I'm gonna zoom in so that you can see this. All these little black pieces here, this is just some of the seasoning that kind of came through the basket. And since this is not hot now, I don't have to worry about burning myself, but you can open this directly onto a tray like this and just let them cool off if you wanted to. And so I'm just gonna dump those out here and set my basket aside. Let these cool, and as they cool off, they're gonna crisp up even more. And then when you're done making all of your chips, all of your salsa, then you can pour your chips in something pretty. So once these have cooled off, I'll put them in this serving bowl. This is our medium serving bowl from it's the gray stone piece from our entertaining collection. So this will be really pretty. You can put the salsa in a pretty bowl to go with it. You can even put the bowl in the middle and put the chips around it. We even have a really great chip and dip tray. So however way you want to serve it is totally up to you. You can serve them right out of this pan if you want to just get to town, right? So this is how you make the roasted salsa in the air fryer and using the blender to blend it together and cooking your tortilla chips homemade in the air fryer. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Don't forget to go to theflipflopchef.com, join my recipe community. You'll have access to thousands of recipes and my weekly giveaway. And that's all I have for you today, but I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, you guys.